to look out for. So I'm going to pick Sean Jordan to win this Saturday. Although his opponent, again, is nothing to really look over. This is a guy, Ruslan Magomedov, who only has one loss on his record. He's beaten Victor Pesta, the aforementioned Victor Pesta, and Josh Copeland. But I just don't see the knockout power on his part to really deal with the Sean Jordan. And Jordan is a very, very decent, very, very good wrestler too as well. So I don't think he has the advantage there as well. I see a limited amount of ways that he could win this fight. So I'm going to have to go with Sean Jordan on this one.
And Andrew, yourself, Jordan versus Magomedov, who are you picking?
Yeah, it's a very interesting fight for me. I mean, like, Sean Jordan is definitely one of the most talented heavyweight ever. He's a heavyweight who can throw hook kick, and that's
over that, yeah.
But if you see Magomedov's record, he's a very tough guy. Like, yes, he won most of his fight by decision. But, going the distance in the heavyweight division is not something easy. I mean, a KO can come anytime, and he goes the distance, even though maybe you can take it as a boring, because he goes the distance almost every time. But
yeah,
he's tough, man. This guy's is tough, and you really don't mess with Russians.
Yeah. Well said. Well, elsewhere on the main card, we have Jessica Ai versus Juliana Pena. And Adri, I'll start with you this time. How do you see this one going down?
Yeah, I mean, the women's division, especially when we don't talk about Ronda Rousey, it's not that high of a level right now, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So it's always the same fighters we're talking about: Juliana Pena, Jessica Ai, Liz Carmouche, Becky Correa, Holly Holm. We just keep going there and over there, and I mean, this guy and this fight, I mean, is very interesting for me. Why? Because it's a fight that will determine who will be the next the next superstar.
I guess. Yeah,
I mean, both of these ladies are superstar in their own rights, but we're gonna see who is the real deal in this fight, because a lot of people have been talking a lot about Juliana Pena, because she won the Ultimate Fighter, and people has been talking about Jessica Ai because the tough fights she's been taking, she's been doing. So yeah, we're gonna see who's gonna be the real UFC superstar, and one of them between Juliana Pena and Jessica Ai.
Yeah. Bob, what about yourself? Evil Eye. Who have you picking in this one?
I'm going to go with Jessica Ai, because Jessica is coming off of a very, very tough fight versus Misha. She was winning, part of the fight, and then Misha got the takedowns, and Misha just was a little bit more tenacious on the ground, was able to edge that victory. I think Jessica's going to be frustrated. I think Jessica's boxing is going to be very, very good. I think it's probably a little bit better than Juliana's, and I'm not sure that Juliana is really going to be able to do much with Jessica on the ground. So I would have to give the nod to Jessica Ai here. If I were a betting man, I would bet on Jessica, probably by some sort of decision. Jessica is a very, very good boxer, very, very tough athlete, tough fighter. But she's not somebody like that has a Ronda Rousey type power or Chris Cyborg power, where she's going to go in there and knock somebody out with one punch. If you look at most of her fights, they've been won by a decision and won by, you just don't see the one punch knockout power from her. So that's what I would have to say. And then she'll probably move up the rankings most likely after this fight. Not to be dismissive of Juliana, but she's ranked number 7 now, and I just Audrey was right with the women's division. It's like there's Ronda Rousey, then there's pretty much everybody else. There's a great discrepancy in the skill between Ronda and I think a lot of I think almost all of the bantamweight division there, and it's going to be interesting to see if it develops more. We have more females entering into the sport. That where's the next Ronda Rousey? Where is the next phenom? That remains to be seen. So it's still almost like a work in progress. Women's MMA. I hate to say that, but it's true. It's a relatively new phenomenon, and hopefully we could see more even matches going forward in that division. But going back to this fight, just to reiterate, I think Jessica Ai is going to win.
And next up we have Bader versus Rashad Evans. Rashad obviously been out for a while, but Bob, I'll start with you on this one. Who are you picking and why?
I have to pick Ryan Bader on this one because Ryan Bader is really. It seems like he's on a resurgence now. It seems like ever since the loss to John Jones, he comes out and he beats he won 4 in a row. He beats Phil Davis. He beats Ovince St. Preux. And Rashad Evans is a guy. He's been there a long time. He's a little bit older, not by that much, but he's about 3 or 4 years older than Ryan Bader. And I just don't know how much more Rashad has left. Although I will give it to Rashad. Rashad has probably more of a chance to win by knockout. I would say. Just based on his punching power, Rashad has the one punch knockout power. We've seen that throughout his career, and but I would just based on the trajectory of their careers, so at this point, I would have to give the edge to Bader here.
And Audrey, same to you yourself. Evans versus Bader. What's your projections?
Like Bob said. Ryan Bader has been on a roll lately with a 4-fight winning streak against 4 tough guys, Perosh, Cavalcante, OSP, and Phil Davis. And Rashad last 2 victories has been against guys that people think are washed up, even though I'm a big fan of these 2 guys, Chael Sonnen and Dan Henderson. So, I'm picking Ryan Bader also, even though, again, like Bob said, Ryan Bader has got. Rashad Evans has the bigger chance of knocking up Ryan Bader because Ryan Bader is prone to KO, to punches, and Rashad Evans has a big power in his hand.
I think also another thing in terms of the Bader potentially getting knocked out. I don't want to predict how he's gone down, but Bader takes chances, man. That fight against Teixeira springs to mind. He had Teixeira rocked, but he's leaving his chin out there and he's leaving his hands down low, and maybe it's just that fight in particular sticks in my mind, but I've got to agree that Rashad definitely has. If it was a KO, he's definitely the favourite. Let's move on to the co-main event. We have Hendricks versus Woodley. I don't know if you guys saw the countdown show, but they replayed their 2005 wrestling contest. Excuse me, for the Big 12. With Hendricks with that claim he was bitten in the hand. Woodley is penalised and eventually lost due to that penalty point. It's a nice little side story, perhaps, but I'll start with yourself, Audrey. How do you see the co-main event going down, Johnny Hendricks versus Tyron Woodley?
It's going to be a 2 almost identical style guys for me.
Yeah.
Both guys are wrestlers, but both guys like to bang, and both guys have scale power in their hands. This is one of the fights that I'm gonna say, like, don't blink when you watch this fight because a KO can come anytime. Tyron Woodley, I can still picture that victory over Dong Hyun Kim in Macau. That was a spectacular KO
ferocious,
by Woodley. But Johnny Hendricks' KO over John Fitch and Martin Kampman, that was also very very impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not expecting a wrestling match. I'm expecting an all-out striking match between the two. If I have to pick anyone, I'll probably pick Tyron Woodley if Tyron can KO Johnny Hendricks in the first round. But if it goes more than one round, I'm picking Johnny Hendricks.
Yep. And what about yourself, Bob? Co-main event, who are you picking?
Yeah, this is, I'm really excited to see this fight, and I really think overall this is a very, very good card, and this fight really adds to the card. Like Audrey was saying, both these guys are very, very similar. The only difference I would say, there's just some minute differences, I would say. Tyron Woodley, a lot of times, likes to fight with his back against the cage. And so you're going to have Johnny Hendricks advancing, and I see Tyron sort of being more calculating and more looking to play the role of perhaps a counter striker in this fight. I think both of their wrestling bases neutralize each other. Like we're not going to see a lot of wrestling in this fight. Most likely, I'm going to say we're going to see a decision where it's going to be up to the judges. It's going to be basically a pick'em. It's going to be a toss-up. Are the judges going to favor Johnny Hendricks' more aggressive style, or are they going to favor Tyron Woodley, boxing and landing perhaps more precise strikes? It's going to be interesting to see. I would be willing to bet it's probably going to go the distance, and it's going to be a pick'em. But for the record, I will say I'm going to probably pick Tyron Woodley to win this fight. I think he'll, both these guys are going to be in great cardio shape, as always. But I think Tyron, at the end of the day, may do just enough on the scorecards to win.
Well, finally, we have the main event: Cormier, the champion, versus the Mauler, Alexander Gustafsson. And the Mauler obviously coming off that Rumble loss, still gets the title shot. But predictions, gentlemen. Bob, if you would like to start us off on this one, who do you have in the main event?
I think this is going to be a fight where it comes down to Daniel Cormier scrambling, Daniel Cormier winning the scrambles and taking Gustafsson down and just pounding on him, similar to what we saw
Rumble,
Anthony Rumble Johnson doing. But just Cormier is going to be able to do it better. I think it's going to be a frustrating night for Gustafsson because he's going to lose this battle. However, we could see Gustafsson try to basically neutralize Cormier's takedown with his long reach, with his kicks, with his distance, his foot movement, and all that stuff. So, but if I had to guess, I would say Cormier is going to be victorious here via decision in a pretty convincing fashion.
Wow. Finally, Adria, who are you picking to walk away with the UFC light heavyweight title come Saturday?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Bob over there. I'm thinking that Cormier gonna win the decision. I mean, Cormier has all the tools to finish Gustafsson, but Gustafsson, we cannot write him off. He's a tough fighter.
Yeah.
So whether if it's a KO, it might happen. I mean, like a KO can come anytime, but we're talking a technical fight between the two of them. It's gonna be a decision, and it's Cormier gonna win in a convincing fashion, like Bob said.
Yeah, I mean, I'd struggle to disagree with that as well, if I'm honest. I definitely see DC retaining the title. It would be nice to see a stand-up battle and maybe Gustafsson get off some strikes, but Cormier is just too good of all-roundness, if that's even an adjective. It certainly is now. Hashtag that one for this podcast. Thanks very much for your time today, gentlemen. We covered a lot of topics, and we look forward to having you here once again on the Martial Arts Chat. So for myself, John McElroy, the Adria Kumara of Indonesian Top Team, Bob Carson of the Carson's Corner podcast. We want to say a huge thank you for listening and tuning in, and keep subscribing to our channel here at Spreaker. Thank you very much for your time, gents.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
All the best.